there are that very small percentage, they are in total, who want the wilderness, who want the space, want the beauty. Then there are the families for whom water seems to be a dominant attraction. Every place where a road crosses a river, you can bet your bottom dollar that people try to settle there.
For most of the children, the trip to Dartmoor will be remembered for years afterwards as the great adventure. Even without holiday weather, there's a definite human warmth. It's the freedom of it all, the foreverness of the place. And that toddle along the riverbank near the road and never far from the parked car will endure as a trek into real wilderness.
Again, you're going to have an extremely hot water.
I can't resist the movement and music of running water, the way it holds the light of the sky and juggles with it. This is one of those streams of childhood, full of brown trout and happy memories. It sparkles like freshly uncorked champagne cider. It's alive in the best possible outdoor sense. It even smells of summer. I often wonder why we're fascinated by water. Is it because this is the birthplace of the human race? The original element of our species? Whatever it is, when I'm absent from Devon and I start fretting for Dartmoor, I see this lovely brook springing in and out of shadowy silences, and my heart is on the way home long before I start the car.
Name for Buckfast is St. Mary's Abbey. There was a monastery here in the year 1000. We don't know how much earlier because we've no documents. It was destroyed at Henry VIII's time. When the monks returned from France in 1882, there was nothing above ground of the old church. It was only by accident they came across the foundations. So when they laid the foundations bare, the abbot said, all right, we're going to rebuild the church. So this church is built on the exact foundations of the old church. It was started in 1906 and it was finished in 1938. And 6 men built this church. And most of the 6 that started it finished it. The brother who put the first stone on, he put the last stone on the church. But when St. Benedict founded his monks over 1,500 years ago, he mentioned in his rule that his monks must live by the work of their own hands. And so as far as our bodily needs are concerned in this monastery, we are able to keep ourselves by our own industries. But of course, when you get a building as large as Buckfast, the maintenance of the building is prohibitive these days. And so we have to have a certain amount of commercialism. The tourist board last year reckoned we had over 400,000 visitors here. And we like to think that the visitors who come to this church take something home with them. We like to think they find some peace in the Abbey Church. And as there is a monk nearly always at the main doors, many people have questions, have little problems, and we find that we can ease people's problems and send people away with a little hope and joy in their hearts. This year we've had such bad weather. Many of the people, when they come into the church, mention to me, we have found the sunshine inside of the church. And then, of course, for our industries, in order to keep our bodily needs going, we have 300 acres of farm. We have a boarding school for boys. We have the tonic wine. And the basic medicament of the wine was regarded as a secret. To a certain extent, they are still secret, but we have to put a lot of the formulas down these days. The body of the wine, that comes from the south of France, and we mix the medicament with the wine. And then it is distributed over the whole world, really. We make stained glass windows for modern churches all over the country. We've done over 150 churches so far.
We've been using this type of glass for the last 25 years, and we number ourselves among the pioneers of this new technique, which is using very thick glass, 1 inch thick, and combining it and binding it together in a composition of epoxy resin. This differs, of course, from the ancient glass, insofar as the old glass was thin, it was blown glass, it was painted, fired in a kiln, and eventually pieced together with lead and soldered, so that it made one whole picture. Now, we think the old windows were more like transparent pictures, whereas this new technique reveals the real characteristics of glass. We might say the glassiness of glass, the sparkle that you get from cutting glass with facets.
And then, of course, we have the bees. Brother Adam, our famous beekeeper.
Dartmoor, of course, Dartmoor has failed us recently, the last 2 years, due to climatic conditions, so that there is really no hope of getting a crop this year. This apiary is primarily to ensure pure mating. So it's right in the heart of Dartmoor, because there are no other bees about. And it's actually the only breeding station in the whole of the British Isles. We have developed a special strain, which is very industrious. It produces more honey than most other strains. It's also resistant to disease. They are being sent abroad for breeding purposes.
The queen is accompanied by 15 bees to keep her content. And this is a postal cage. It's balsa wood, very light. It has a food supply. It keeps the bees quite contented as they're in the post. They feed on the candy and then they're able to feed the queen. And that keeps the queen in a very good condition when she arrives.
You wonder? We are looking for the queen, catch him in, put him in a cage for protection, because we will go to unite the two small colonies. The protection is important because the strange colony will kill the queen. And they get some time to get acquainted with the queen and a little plug of candy in. And they eat the candy, and it takes about 4 or 5 hours. And then they can go to the queen and say good day and take her out of the cage. Oh, nicht so hastig. So. Oh, da kommen 3 Mittelwände. 3 Foundations. Lass das so. Okay.
They're so good-tempered. I mean, occasionally I get stung if I squash a bee, you see, or normally I don't get. They're so good-tempered. Actually, I didn't get stung all the morning.
At this time of year, grass is the whispering voice of the moorland. There's a brief and lovely plenitude with the silent, gentle growth of living things all around you. The annual miracle of plenty transforms the barren landscape, and although I know it's not going to last, that adds to the attraction. These beautiful deceptions conceal the hardships of a daily existence, which is all too apparent most of the time. But now it's green and golden and kind, and while the tourists are soaking up this summery atmosphere, the working life of the moor ticks on.
Listen to me!
Trialling is a summer thing because most people are farmers who take part in it, and wintertime would be impossible to come away for an all day, and so it is combined to the summer. I didn't much of it, but what it is, you know what I mean?
Hell, listen to me!
And now we have Jed Watson with Chum.
He's what we call placeable. He waits for his commands. For the sheepdog trialling business, he is the business for it. Where home on the farm, he could miss things where another dog, what thought a little bit more of himself, would, well, move by himself, but he waits for his command. And to get to the top in this sort of lark, you've got to have that sort of dog. He's got to be commandable, and I consider him very commandable.
Steady, take your eye, man!
Further than the other. You'll get someone with determination. Your land's out there. Oh, I got right side. Oh, I see.
Well, thank you to Jed Watson and Chum for finishing off the afternoon for us in such fine style.
He still needs that little bit of steadying down and pacing. It's still a little bit up, down and up, down. But I'm well satisfied. Couldn't have wished for anything better. I think it's a dog with a future, I hope.
And there was a tie for Thursday, a tie on 81 points.